Our good friend Russell Thomas from the Regional Municipality of Wood Buffalo joining us here on the program. Now, normally we would be talking about all the great events and stuff happening within the region. But today, Russell, first of all, good morning. And
good morning.
Glad to hear that you're doing okay. Your family's doing okay. Both been separated, but you both know that you're in good locations right now.
Yeah, thank God for social media that we're able to stay connected, and even with our colleagues with the United Way, we did a check-in late last night, and they were scattered all over the place, but we were able to ascertain that everybody was safe.
Yesterday, Russell, I was actually talking with a relative of mine out there in Fort McMurray, and, she was saying things seem to have been okay. Then all of a sudden, wow, it just did a total change.
Yeah, I've been talking to media all over the country over the last 12 hours, and what happened for me was I was leaving town to come out here to do a workshop at about noon, and honestly, it was a beautiful day. It was blue sky. There was no smoke that I could see. There's certainly no flames. It looked like a completely benign fire. But my understanding is about an hour later, the wind shifted, and that was a game changer. Mm-hmm. The wind turned the other way. It picked up in ferocity. And so by the time I made it back to town, trying to get back to my family, the combination of the wind, the heat, the I don't know what they call it, but it's like the heat vortex or whatever. I mean, it was the winds were insanely scary. I had never ever been as frightened as I was in the moments being right there and then trying to get out and seeing in your rearview mirror the flames and. Yeah, it's so incredibly difficult to describe, Wally. And a poor mother and her family arrived. I was in the parking lot of the Islamic school, and they came to get their children, and their children weren't there. They'd already been evacuated, but they didn't know where they had been evacuated to. And so the panic, and the one lady could barely breathe, and so we helped her into the school and stabilized her, and because there wasn't any way an ambulance was going to be able to show up. It was that chaotic. It was like honestly being in a war zone.
Just from seeing the footage on the television and seeing those flames and how high they were, and the thick black smoke, and the damage and the devastation that it had left behind. One neighborhood within the region has
Beacon
been
Hill, 80% gone. Yeah,
that is unreal.
Which is, as I was coming into town, that was the neighborhood to the left where this inferno was. Mm-hmm. Very, very scary. And there are folks that arrived here at the Mark Amy Treatment Center later in the evening that described driving through flames both sides of the highway. And I know you've probably seen some video footage of it, where the ash and the hot embers are landing all around you. I mean, and hearing people on social media saying just it was the most frightening thing they've ever lived through. And then the other hard part that happened as part of the evacuation was that people began running out of gas. And so there's hundreds and hundreds of vehicles that have been abandoned. People hopped in with other folks, and then gas ran out at gas stations all over the area. So it's a huge logistical nightmare. And eventually the municipality said, as long as you're safe, wait, we will bring gas to you somehow, some way. Mm-hmm. And right now, right now in the city, they I'm sure are doing whatever they can do now while the temperature's a little bit cooler to douse what they can. And I just had a text a moment ago from my brother-in-law, who's the deputy chief of emergency management, who's just below the fire chief in dealing with the situation. That right now their focus, now that everybody is safe, is to preserve as much property as they can.
Russell Thomas joins the Regional Municipality of Wood Buffalo, and we're talking about the fire situation out there in Fort McMurray. And like we just mentioned, one community or one neighborhood, Beacon Hill, 80% gone. I also seen footage this morning, and it's so sad. You see the sign there of one of the local hotels, Super 8. You see a sign, but there's nothing.
The hotel is absolutely gone. Yeah, it's and there's a gas station right there, that a number of people that were very close to that when it erupted. It is a miracle that nobody has been hurt. At least someone might have sprained an ankle or something, but to our knowledge, nobody has been killed. That is an incredible blessing because many people felt like they got out with their lives.
You see
barely.
You see the traffic and the vehicles on the roadways, and they're like at a virtual standstill, right? Because there's so many people trying to get out, and everybody's being as patient as they possibly can.
Yeah, I think, Wally, it has to start another conversation about the need for other access points to Fort McMurray. We are a one road in, one road out place, and there's been talk when I was on council, and I'm sure previous to that, of other ways of a direct road from Fort McMurray to Peace River, another road from Fort McMurray to La Loche. At least then we would have alternate ways of getting out. But right now, there's only one way, and thousands of people had to experience that last night, and I mean, it's a remarkable story, and I have to say, I really appreciated seeing the coverage we were getting from CFWE, and the calls that we've had from communities across Alberta opening their community centers, and it's hard.
Yeah.
Fort McKay has been a great place, a refuge for people. We can't say enough.
And this is where, the community and the province and people everywhere all come together to help out in any way possible, even if it's just, someone to listen to. Right? Just so you could bounce information off and get things off your chest.
Absolutely. It's important. We're all going through a traumatic event, whether our houses are standing or whether they're not. It's just so hard to describe what this thing is and was. And so I just, on behalf of everybody, we appreciate the Northlands Coliseum opening up some of their facilities, and communities like Boyle and Athabasca and Lac La Biche, Fort McKay. I have friends scattered all over those places. The work camps north of Fort McMurray offering a place for my family and thousands of others to stay. Companies with a full tanker truck of gas giving it away free.
If anybody could do anything to help, I mean, even something like that would really benefit that individual and their family. Because, like you said, there have been people who are running out of gas. Who thinks of that? Because you're the first thing you're thinking about is you got to leave. You want to get out of the community. No one really looks at the gas at their gas gauge right away, right?
I think we were all lulled into some state of complacency. Not all of us, but certainly some of us. I happened to have a full tank of gas, but it wasn't out of being proactive. It was just out of circumstance.
Yeah. Many
people found themselves in a different situation, and so I mean, it was incredible, and I'm proud of everybody for how they reacted and they looked after each other, and I'm proud of my family for taking on the task of getting out without me, and my son and my wife, my two sons, and it's been a crazy day. And again, we're not out of the woods. We know that it's going to be one more tough day, and then the weather's going to cool down a bit, and we can begin the rebuilding process like our friends in Slave Lake did. At least for me, there's a little bit of solace there, knowing that Slave Lake recovered.
Yeah.
It's a vibrant, wonderful community today, and we will be again. We will get there.
Absolutely. Fort McMurray will. And if anything, we really keeping our fingers crossed, and hopefully that we're going to get some rain in the region, although they're not really saying that there's any coming right now, but let's hope that changes.
Well, I think that if we can have a little bit of cooler weather and a slightly higher humidity, that will make a world of difference. But again, today, we just got to get through today. And I know the federal government, the provincial government, the fire department in Edmonton are sending resources. These guys are exhausted. They've been on the ground. They've been in the face of the fire, and they're running on fumes right now. So we need that kind of manpower and that moral support, equipment support. And if they're able to get more resources on the ground today before it gets too hot, they'll be in a much stronger position to manage things as the temperature picks up.
Yeah. Well, Russell, I want to thank you this morning for coming on and speaking with us, even with everything that's going on. I greatly appreciate it. And again, stay safe. And like you had mentioned, thanks with social media, families are being able to get connected through there to let each other know that they're doing okay.
I can't imagine going through this without Facebook and Twitter. I honestly can't. They make this kind of situation bearable in an amazing way. And so keep it up. Keep up the prayers. And we thank all of you for your kindness.
Russell, thank you so much. And we wish you all the best.
Thank you.